Exactly. If that's a thing, if there is some sort of clique of Iranian Jews out in Beverly Hills that worship the new, who they're wanting to put in place, then yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about, as opposed to the Iranian Jews in Iran who are clearly not supportive of the Zionist cause, and their synagogue was just decimated by Israel. So for people who did not know. I know we were going to cover that at some point, but that to me, when Israel says it's for Jews and Jewish safety, and then they bomb a synagogue not just a synagogue, but a synagogue in a place where those Jews lived and existed before Ziohel was even a state. That's how far back the Jews in Iran go, way back. And a whole bunch of them stayed even when they were supposedly kicked out, which was basically the Zionists pulling them into Ziohel to make their numbers. But yeah, the Iranian Jews are Iranian who happen to be Jewish.
Yeah, but this is the thing. The Hasbara narrative is that all Zios are evil, or all Muslims are evil, and they've completely taken over Tehran or the entire country of Iran. And as a result, there is no distinction. There is no distinction with a difference. Everybody's the same.
Exactly. So any Iranians that support that benefited from that same system. They were the people that think they're in that group, but they're not really in that group, but they're close to that group. So they benefited from basically the coattails of that group. And yes, that's how it usually is. This is in Tehran.
It appears that he's holding is that a burnt Bible? Is that what?
It looks like a prayer book. It's like a siddur. It looks like a prayer book.
I mean,
oh, yeah.
I mean, you even said, to me, I would think that this is a prime example of the separation of Zionism and Judaism. Like, they're not the same, no matter what Western society wants you to believe.
Yes. That's who bombed this synagogue. Well, us and Ziohel, yeah.
Now, I think
bombed the real synagogue.
Yes, but I think that there's a more important layer to this here that isn't being discussed. Did they bomb the synagogue with the intention of trying to blame the Islamic State on it? Is that essentially what they were trying to do and failed in doing so?
I don't know whether it's a matter of they're trying to convince these Jews, like they do with all Jews around the world, that you're not safe and that you are one of us and you're not going to be safe there. Or like, there's so many reasons, but also there is this general spite and disdain for Mizrahi Jews in the Ashkenazi class in Ziohel. And they do not see Mizrahi Jews as equals. That's also a fact. So these are the Jews. These Jews are bad Jews because they had the opportunity generations ago to be in Ziohel and they chose to stay in Iran. So they have beef with these Jews. Make no mistake, they are majorly bigoted against Mizrahi Jews. So
apparently Sephardic as well.
Yes, they also hate the Sephardic Jews. I mean, look, we're talking about brown people. Okay, they're brown peoples. They don't like the browns. All right. So you've got your Arabic, and your Western Asia continental browns, and then you've got your Iberian Peninsula browns, which are your Sephardic browns, and they are not with any of that. That's the truth. And they all get treated like second-class citizens in Ziohel. Oh, Predator, this is a synagogue that Israel bombed in Tehran. And I don't know the nature of that particular synagogue. There are only a couple of major congregations there. I mean, even though it's a large Jewish community, it's still relatively small in the world. So this is very distressing. And yet not remotely surprised. They bombed a synagogue. So then where do you get off getting? So then somebody goes into the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh and starts shooting people, and you play a victim card because, oh my God, it's so anti-Semitic and they went and killed Jews. But if you're killing the Jews yourself, then it's acceptable. So
Yeah.
only Jews can kill Jews. Got it. Got it.
Jen, if you would, please.
Synagogue in Tehran completely destroyed in U.S.-Israeli attack. Synagogue hit after attack on adjacent residential building. Okay, so they're saying it wasn't purposefully targeted. I call bullshit. They know exactly what they're hitting. Scroll. I love the guy's name, Pizza Baller. Colin, are you there? Scroll. All right. Thank you. United States-Israel strikes have completely destroyed. Okay, that part I did. And its attacks across Iran killed more than a dozen people overnight. So this is from a couple days ago. So this wasn't just last night. It was a couple days ago. According to preliminary information, the Rafi Nia synagogue was completely destroyed in this morning's attacks. The Shar newspaper reported on Tuesday. Scroll. According to Iran's semi-official Mer news agency, the synagogue was destroyed. Wait, we already said that. All right. Footage showed civil defense workers amid the rubble with Hebrew language books scattered on the ground. The report said that due to the narrowness of the streets surrounding the building attack, the exterior and interior of the nearby buildings were also severely damaged. That's not severely damaged. That's destroyed. There were no immediate report on the casualties. In a video published on Telegram by Iran's official IRIB news outlet, Homayun Sameh, a Jewish representative in the country's Islamic Consultative Assembly, said, "The Zionist regime showed no mercy to this community during the Jewish holidays and targeted one of our ancient and holy synagogues. Unfortunately, during this attack, the synagogue building was completely destroyed and our Torah scrolls were left under the rubble." And you know what, Ashkenazi Zio Jews from hell? The thing about the Torah and all their stuff is it's all in the same language. They might speak Farsi, but they pray in Hebrew.
What is Farsi?
Well, I'm assuming these are Iranians, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so no, these are Iranian Jews, but they're Iranian. They speak Farsi. I'm presuming that, but when they pray, just like Jews all over the world, it's in Hebrew. That's the thing. Even though that's not the language that they're Jews. Okay. Judaism is one of Iran's legally recognized minority religions, and the country has a small Jewish community, although many members fled in the aftermath of the 1979 Islamic Revolution purposefully and helped along by the Zios to kick them out of this country and force them to be residents of Ziohel. There are no publicly available official numbers, but there are thought to be a few thousand Jewish people in Iran. Shar called the synagogue one of the most important places for Khorasan Jews to gather and celebrate, referring to the northeastern province of Iran. The strikes were among a series of U.S.-Israeli attacks overnight in which at least 15 people were killed across Iran, local media reported. Yeah, they bombed the synagogue. Yeah.
How are you gonna rewrite that one?
6 bodies have been recovered from under the rubble of the buildings. Local officials said 9 people were killed in an Israeli air attack on a residential neighborhood in the city of Shahryar in the west of Tehran province. I am never, ever going to be able to learn to speak Farsi. I'm just taking that off my list. because that's not happening. But yeah, this is one of those stories, just like the USS Liberty story, where it is very clear that that is not our friend. That is not our friend. That's not our friend as people in this country, and that's not our friend as somebody who is a Jewish person in the diaspora. That's not our friend. And the Iranians in that synagogue most likely were very strongly not Zionist, is what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to suggest that they were pretty anti-Zionist. They were probably Jews that were speaking out against Zionism since this whole thing started in Iran. That might be, I mean, that's one way to really quiet them, and just destroy their whole building.
But this is nothing new. That's the thing. And will it hit home? Will anybody actually pay attention to this? No, because they're going to claim that it was actually Iran that did it. It's, again.
No, Iran is not Arabic. They speak Farsi. I understand. Completely different language, similar undertones, similar lettering styles, completely different languages. I understand that. No, they're not Arabic, but they are still considered, the Jews in Iran are considered Mizrahi Jews. They're not Ashkenazi Jews. They're from Asia. They're from Africa. They're Mizrahi Jews. If they're from Iberia, Spain, or Portugal, then they're Sephardic Jews. If they're Eastern, Western European, other than the Iberian Peninsula, Russian, we're Ashkenazi. And the one common thing is that we're white. And the Mizrahi Jews and the Sephardic Jews are less than white. And they don't like that.